Let me tell you why. Thank you, Don. Let me tell you why Tim Conway's a funny man. He thinks funny. He does funny things. About a couple of months ago, we showed a movie at the house, Joanna and I. And we had, I think Harvey Korman was there and two other people. And we invited Tim Conway. And Tim said he had to come a little late. So we're having dinner in the dining room, and the doorbell rings. And the gentleman we have working for us at home, Eugene, answered the door and came back and said, the projectionist is here. I said, fine. And we went on eating. Now, what had happened? And 10 minutes had passed, and we figured the regular fellow who comes to run the picture is gone to the projection booth. So we sit there, and about 10 minutes later, it was Tim Conway who had come, and right. Tim simply said, and Gene didn't recognize him, right. Tim says, I'm here for the picture. And Gene took Tim, led him into the projection room. And so Conway, with his mind, sat in there for about 10 minutes and finally walked out while we're having dinner and says, I got the first roll of film on, the picture will be ready in about 10 minutes, and walked out of the dining room. Hadn't said a word. Oh. Led him to the projection room. He's a funny man, and if you saw the Emmys the other night, he won an Emmy for his great work on the Carol Burnett Show, and this coming Saturday night, he has his own television special. Unfortunately, I wish it was on this network. We could use a special on this network. It's called Uncle Tim Wants You. Tim Conway.
I wasn't going to come out all evening that night. I felt, what the heck, it was a lot better in there than going out and eating with Harvey. But that was a weird night. The man actually said, are you here for the picture? And I said, yes, and he put me right in the projection room.
And you sat there?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know whether that's where he wanted me or not. So I just figured,
since the first roll is on, I'll have it roll.
Yeah.
Look, I've been doing this show now. At the end of this month, we have an anniversary show coming up. We're starting our 16th year. Mm-hmm. You have never been on this show.
That's true.
And I know we have asked you before.
Well, I didn't know you did this. No, that's true. Now, we've known each other, 4 or 5 years, and you have never said what you do, so I just figured, and I never asked you, so I figured whenever I came over the house, you just wanted people in the business coming over there eating and running films and things, so but they mentioned it the other day that this is what you do.
This is what I do for a living.
Nice. Yeah, got a band and everything. It's really good. It's dynamite, really.
Hey, congratulations.
For what? Well, I thought you knew something about my private life.
No.
Yeah, that was
the Emmy
it's
Award
always
last
exciting
night.
for me to be even connected with the Emmys. I think it's a great organization, and I'm very excited about winning that award, and my salary hasn't even doubled yet.
Nothing happened?
Nothing has happened.
I saw Corman. Corman got up.
He tried to start
and tried to get a standing ovation going.
Yeah, it didn't go too well, did it? No, he was the only one. Yeah.
Harvey stood up, and you looked out, and nobody. There was Corman, and finally Harvey sits down. And
yeah, he's embarrassing. Just before I went on, the director, Bill Carruthers, who I thought did a sensational job at the Emmys, he said, we are really running long. He said, don't go out there and horse around. Just go out and say thank you. And I said, okay. They didn't realize they were talking to the wrong fellow, I guess.
Yes.
And I just happened to have that telegram with me, and so I thought I'd kind of read it, because I thought it was important to me.
Wasn't that from Angie's Pitch and Putt?
Angie's Pitch and Putt, yeah, Tarzana Pitch and Putt, yeah. Yeah. And I also I have a friend, Ernie Anderson, that I've known for about 16 or 17 years from Cleveland, and that was his telephone number I gave. Yeah, because he said, mention me if you win, so I thought that would be the best way.
That was the real number?
Yeah, real number. Yeah, he's still getting calls. Incidentally, if you didn't get that number, it is, you want to give Ernie a call and...
Is that where you're from originally?
I'm from Chagrin Falls, yeah.
Chagrin Falls?
Yeah, a little town outside of Cleveland, dynamite town. Yeah, small, kind of Mark Twainish type little town, yeah.
Fishing when you were a kid and going down to the river and...
Yeah, we didn't have a river, but we went down and fished. Just throwing that little spinner right out into the mud there. And, Yeah, it's a nice town because everybody really cared about you. You know, it was a very small town.
When you say small, I come from
yeah.
small Midwestern towns.
Yeah.
1,200, 2,000, 6,000.
This was, at the time I was there, I think it was less than 1,100.
Yeah.
You know the old gag about they had a parade and everybody was in it, but I went back one year for a parade, and it was a cherry blossom thing, and really everybody was in the parade, and it just went down the street, you know, waving at sidewalks.
And there's nobody there.
Yeah, everybody was in back, yeah. They were kind of excited that year, yeah.
Chagrin Falls.
Yep. It's an old Indian town. Now, this is what they believe on how that town got its name, that there is a falls in the town and a very little trickle of water, and the Indians were supposedly coming down this trickle of water, evidently, and heard this roar, and when they got there, it was such a small falls that they said, "We're really chagrined." And they believe that in that town.
Well,
yeah.
That's one of the problems with
Yeah.
the town right there. They bought that. We have
Yep.
to do something, do we? We have to pause occasionally in our show.
Oh, boy.
To sell something.
Well, I've never seen it before. This is exciting.
Right. And we'll do this. We'll come right back with
You do this every night?
Chagrin Falls. Yes, most of the time. I'm not here. Thank you, Doc. We're back. We had a fine jam. You didn't even know we had it. Yeah. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, you could record that and save yourself a lot of money, you know, and just play that each time.
Yeah. We're talking with Mr. Timothy Conway. Did your mother call you Timothy as a kid?
Well, my real name is Betty, which we had some problems with. Came out here, but no, I guess my real given name is Thomas.
Thomas?
It's really Thomas. My mother's Romanian, and
She never quite got the hang
she
of
couldn't
it.
say it.
I see, Thomas.
Yeah, no. So yeah, it's Thomas Daniel Conway. But was another actor called Tom Conway, so I had to change
That's
my
right.
name. Yeah.
Young fellow with a mustache, good-looking,
Yeah,
thin
George
guy,
Saunders'
Tom
brother.
Conway.
Yeah. And I was getting a lot of his bills, so we changed my name.
Didn't know that. Are there other Conways, brothers and sisters?
No.
See, even though we know each other and been out socially.
Isn't it? Well, see how I
occasionally
find
here
out that you do
on this
this
show, I have to
Yeah,
ask these
good.
questions, you see.
No, there were no others. I guess they just kind of said on that. When I
You're an only?
Only.
Only?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But a real bright kid, and I've done real well, so...
Weren't you lonesome as a child? I mean, did you have anybody to play with?
No. Well, I went to school, you know.
Oh, well,
Yeah, there were other kids in
other
school.
kids in school.
So I had those,
never thought of
those
that.
kids to play with. Yeah, you probably didn't do that. But no, and those are the only children I had to play with. Yeah, no brothers or sisters. Yeah.
Were you in school plays like I was, doing the...
I had a funny thing. I used to get physically ill whenever I appeared in front of people. And as a matter of fact, on the first time I did the Gary Moore show, what was the other guy's name that was with Gary?
Durward Kirby?
Durward Kirby. I actually, before going on, did something on Durward that he has never forgotten. Because I would get very nervous before a show, and then when they would mention my name, it started in football. They would say, number 21, here he is, right guard, whatever, Tom Conway, and I would actually get sick. I'd just go over to the fence and get ill. So then they stopped giving my name because they thought that was the problem.
Number 48,
Yeah.
I want the number.
And it got so I would even do it on the number. So
there are, I know people
I
like
had
that.
actually forgotten about. Excuse me, but I had forgotten it. But I really was not going to get into the business because of that. That's true.
That's interesting. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people who are performers
Yeah.
now who found it excruciating to appear in front of people. Did you get the feeling that all the attention was on you? When it really isn't. You know that about being self-conscious. People aren't really they're concerned about themselves.
Uh-huh.
But people who are self-conscious think that all the
I
attention...
guess I am then. Yeah, that must be it. Because and I.
How did you overcome that?
Well, I told this to a guy, and he said, "Why don't you go to a doctor, and he'll straighten it out for you." And the doctor said, he talked to my wife, and he said, "What you should do is occupy his mind before he goes on." So I went to one show, and I noticed that she was talking a lot and kept saying, but she was telling me about a lot of bills that we'd run up. And I actually got sick about the bills that we were running up. And
did the thing on your wife?
I don't know, it just kind of went away. And it went away once, and then I never had it again. But up until that time, it just would happen every time.
So all you kids watching who get
Yeah.
sick before an audience, you realize you can turn out like this.
Right.
I mean, that's something to shoot for. I mean, that was a compliment.
Yeah, well, sure, I understand.
You mentioned your wife. Your wife is a ranked, as they say, bridge player, is she not?
I have no word on that. Is she?
No.
Yes, she is.
She's
Yeah.
I mean, she's a...
Well, I don't talk to her that much, I mean,
Well, I know you
I
talked
didn't
to her
talk to you about the
occasionally.
show, so yeah. And she travels around the world, as a matter of fact, playing bridge. Yeah, which is real nice for me. So it's a lonely town when they're out of town. Well, you know.
I know,
yeah.
and loneliness.
Yeah, but fortunately, a lot of people ask me over for dinners and things like that. It kind of occupies my mind.
But you have a large family. 6.
Is it that many?
6.
Yeah, I guess it's 6. I don't.
6.
Well, they're not brought to me till they're 10. So.
Cuts out those bad
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So I've only seen 3 of them. But there are other littler ones running around the house. I noticed that.
6
yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
That's a big family.
Yeah. Well, I can't sing or dance, and obviously with 6 kids, I have no sense of rhythm. But no, I love I am the best father in the valley.
I hear that.
Yeah, I really am.
I hear you're
I
fine.
live for my kids. I really do. I didn't care too much for the early years. I mean, but I got right in there, boy. I went through the diaper thing in the toilet there and everything, and
And putting them in the can.
Yeah, yeah. I was real close with a Roto-Rooter man for about 4 or 5 years there. No, but I grew up with them because in this business, you know, you have a lot of time during the summer and everything, and they're very fond of me. I think. I hope.
Yeah.
You know, because when I go to the old actors' home, I want them to come out on Sunday and
Don't we all?
Yeah.
You know, do something.
put you out there in the sun, put a little blanket around you. Yeah, it's good.
It's not going to be long for
No,
us.
well, I know. I'm on my way.
We've
Yeah.
talked to them already, and
Yeah.
we have a hold on the suite over there.
Yeah.
How long have you known Corman?
Oh, I would say 10 or 11 years. Yeah.
So you get to him easier than he gets to you. You can break him up. Harvey's a pretty easy breakup.
Yeah.
At least
yeah.
for you.
Well, that started kind of, we were in the dressing room one day during the Burnett show, and he had on a chicken outfit with red stockings and big chicken feet and feathers.
Was he in a sketch or just
No,
had
he
it
just
on?
come in from home.
I just wanted to...
And,
You never know.
yeah,
you know,
that's
with
true,
show
with
business
Harvey.
people. Yeah.
And he had a big beak on that in order to talk, he had to pull it open like this. And I was dressed as an Avon lady. And I had on a dress and the wig and the pearls and everything, and these and the pantyhose and everything. And he had a personal problem, which he was trying to talk to me about. And he said, gee, I don't know what to do. And he was pacing up and down with these, this chicken thing on and talking like that. Yeah, and going, you know, if I don't find a solution to this thing. And I was sitting there listening to him, and I said, you know, would it be better if we got out of these outfits first? I just can't lock into this thing. You know? And,
a man talking
yeah.
through chicken lips.
And that kind of got to him. And we went out to do the sketch, and we never got through it because he just couldn't visualize these 2 guys trying to be serious in these outfits. And ever since then, it was kind of an easy target.
Yeah, you can just give him a little,
Yeah.
a little wink.
We had a
little...
$50 bet going that if I could break him up, he'd give me 50, and if he could break me up, he'd give me 50. And he put 3 of my kids through school.
Just You've done some great sketches on Carol's show over the years. The dentist sketch, you know, there are a million sketches you do. What's your favorite?
I think Strange and Amazing, the dentist sketch.
The
Yeah,
dentist
that kind of all came out of spontaneity, really, because I knew I was going to do that with the hypodermic needle in my hand. But when that got rolling, then I went for the head and the leg and everything else, and just stayed out there because I saw Harvey was in pain too, and I loved him to be in pain. And so we just went with it, and I think it was one of those nights when people were laughing.
You're
know?
brilliant when you're
Yeah.
working. You really are.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that myself. No, I am. Dynamite.
Look, you haven't been here now in 15 years. I mentioned you're special. Now, you must have something to say about it. You just didn't come here to listen to our band. I know that. I haven't asked you anything
Yeah,
about
actually
this.
I did. No, these specials on, well, you said it. It's on Saturday night, and it's Jonathan Winters, and Bernadette Peters, and the Marquis Chimps. I wanted to get somebody for Jonathan to work with. And Strange, I think Johnny is as funny on this as I've seen him in a long time, because we just had a sketch where we let him go. I was a drill instructor in the Marines, and he was a private, and the only setup I gave him was, you're going to put together an M1 rifle, and I'm going to stay on you until you get this thing together. And that was the premise of the sketch, and he just fractured me. I mean, he came, well, you know.
Well, as
I
we
mean,
all
the
know,
man is insane.
No, Johnny, when he gets rolling.
When he gets going, and he did, he just came up with a classic. It was good. Yeah.
Good. Wait for another commercial? You're going to stay with us, aren't you?
I hope so.
You're just not going to sit here and
well,
run.
every 15 years, I like to kind of rest.
That's right. Well, We'll do this and we'll come right back.